Hello, Baldman enthusiasts. Welcome back to RV-14 building. This is section 33, part 1. In today's video, we will be building brake pedals. I'd say rudder pedals, but the Vans RVs, unless you've replaced, even if you do replace the brake pedals with something a little bit different, you still have the rudder bars and brake pedals that are separate. So yeah, I'll put a diagram up, and there was one just up of the chapter or the section itself, but basically there's if you're not familiar with Vans RV or with an airplane, the rudder pedals are what make you steer left and right on the ground, and they kind of control where the nose points, sort of, when flying. You know, if you're a pilot, you know what I'm talking about. But if you're not, just trust me on this one. Trust me, I'm a pilot. I know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so in the Vans RV, the rudder control is technically done by the swinging bars that are below the brake pedals. The brake pedals are strictly for engaging the brakes. I hinted in my last video that there'd be nice shiny red things. There are not any nice shiny red things in this video, because we are strictly building the pedals, not doing any of the brake hardware yet. So yeah, basically they have you assemble them all in a certain order, and they really do need to be assembled in a specific order because just the rivet callouts and the way that they get put together. I honestly don't understand why these are so beefy, like they need all the backing and all that sort of thing, because they don't, I don't know, they don't seem all that, they don't seem to need all the extra structure behind them. So like all these parts that are on the table make 4 brake pedals, but like I would think that just the front of it would be hefty enough based on, you know, metal thickness and all that, but all that extra structure is required for some reason. I guess maybe when you really stand on the brakes, you really want to stop or whatever, and you want to flip your plane nose over for the front, you need a lot of meat on that metal just to make sure it doesn't break. See what I did there? Anyway, there are some bushings that they have you make. Basically, it's a 5/16 inch spacer out of 5/16 inch aluminum tubing. I found out later that with the Behringer kit, you do not actually need these spacers. So if you have purchased that replacement / addition to the kit, don't bother with step 1 on page 33-03. That is just a spacer that's going to go between like the master cylinder and the brake pedal fulcrum arm, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, I think I even made them out of the wrong material, and I was like, crap. But then I realized I didn't need them, and I don't know, it was extra material or something. In any case, it's all good. Yeah, so basically, pretty simple construction. Assemble it all, ream all the holes out, because everything was a little bit odd sized on these. I don't understand why they were like that. Maybe because these are like a standard pedal that is used across the board from all the different airplanes. I don't think these are specific to 14s. Let's see the part numbers here. No, they are not. These are all generic parts, except for the bars themselves. for 14s. Everything else is like a CS part. One thing that I did do is, and I kind of like waffled on this for a while, is I painted the fronts of the pedals. They needed to be primed anyway because they were not heat treated. They're not all clad, or they were all clad, but some of them had like been taken to the die grinder to get some like cutting stuff off of them. So I needed to prime them anyway, and I just decided, you know what, I'm going to paint them. If they get worn over the course of use and they start to show wear, I'll throw some new paint on them, or I'll throw some sacrificial vinyl or something like that on them later on in life. But yeah, I was kind of like going back and forth on whether to paint them, because I guarantee over 10 years or so of flying this airplane, the brake pedals will likely start to show some wear. Not really sure where the wear will be, because again, they're not rudder pedals, they're just brakes. You really shouldn't even have your feet near them when you're flying. And honestly, not until you're like ready to use the brakes on the ground. So yeah. Were there any gotchas in this section? I don't think so, other than the assembly sequence. Just make sure that they go in a certain way. You have to, using the squeezer to try to get the rivets in the sides was a lot of fun. Those, could have been pop rivets, but we'll put the solids in like the instructions asked for. Otherwise, nothing crazy. So thanks for stopping by. We'll see you next time for hardware.